Guys, it's me, it's Queen Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. So today we're going to talk about the signs and sex, okay? Sex in the city, sex in the country, sex wherever you are. So let's take a look at the signs and sex. Aquarius and Aries have really amazing sex. I was talking about this the other day. It's an explosion. It's amazing. I mean, it's like the fire from the Aries and the fire from the Aquarius and the innovative nature of the two of them just explodes. When these two come together to have sex, it's usually a lot of sex. It's usually a lot of sex. It's not usually just every once in a blue moon. These two have great sex and they usually have it a lot. If they're a couple, they're going to be sneaking off to have sex, making out all the time, that kind of thing. This is a really great sexual combination because of that. There's a lot of passion between these two, and it's not hard for these two to please each other at all. They just kind of intuitively know what the other one likes. So sex with an Aries is usually really, really great. Sex with the Aquarius and Taurus. I didn't like sex with Taurus. I tell you one thing I did like. Tauruses are very sensual, so I did like the making out. I like the kissing and the making out, the foreplay. That was great. But the sex itself never really lined up. It's just our sexual styles aren't the same. It wasn't a very intuitive understanding. We both like different things. The Taurus that I'm thinking of, she would do things I didn't like, and it was because she liked them. And I would do things she didn't like because that's what I like. So we would often have that conversation about our, sex life. And it never was really good. It was just okay. Sometimes it was better than others. But for the most part, it was just okay. Our real connection came from our emotions and our feelings and our friendship. It really wasn't a good sexual connection. All right, let's see what is next. After Taurus, we have Gemini. Sex with a Gemini, I've never had sex with a Gemini, but other Aquarius who have had sex with a Gemini tell me that it's really great. They tell me that they really enjoyed it. And from what I understand, there's a lot of intellectual stimulation between these two. So if you have a good intellectual relationship with somebody and then you start to sleep with them, that's really great. Because as the two of you start to connect mentally, you'll be able to connect physically and emotionally and other ways along those lines. So even though I haven't experienced it, I've heard from other Aquarius that it was really great. And it was a great connection between the two of them because it started in the mental. All right, after Gemini, we have Cancer. Oddly enough, sex with a Cancer is really wonderful. Cancers are fun to have sex with because they will do anything. Like really, you can talk a Cancer into doing a lot of things sexually because if they're into you, then their freak button is pushed. They will try different things. Sometimes they'll say no at first, and then if you talk about it a little bit more, then eventually they'll say, okay, I'll try it. Cancers were great as far as emotional, you like to not just have sex with a Cancer. Cancers are great for making love to, talking and listening to music during the sex, and candles lit, lingerie. We always had wonderful sex. Like, sex was never a problem. The problem with sex with a Cancer and an Aquarius is that Cancers often use sex to manipulate, to keep you hooked on them, to manipulate the situation, whatever they're trying to do. So a lot of times Cancers use sex as emotional manipulation, and they try to keep you hooked on them and having sex with them. That's how they keep you coming back. So if you have a negative Cancer, then that's going to be a really big issue. If you got a positive Cancer, I don't think it would be a problem. But if you have one that's manipulative and they use sex as a weapon, like a lot of them do, like the dark ones do, the negative ones do, then that's not good. So that's that's something you really got to watch out for. Leo and Aquarius. I've never slept with a Leo. Oh yes, I did. I did sleep with a Leo, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. It wasn't great either. Leo, it depends on the person, depends on the Leo. Because some Leos, I told you before, are selfish. The selfish Leos are not going to make sure that you climax. The ones that aren't selfish are going to be amazing at it, you know? They're actually going to take it as a badge of honor for you to climax. So it depends on what kind of Leo you have. The ones that are more selfish are wham bam, thank you, ma'am, you know? And the ones that aren't are actually pretty fiery lovers and, you know, very well sought after. Leos have a reputation for being ladies' men, especially the males. The women, too, actually, have a reputation for being, good lovers. So generally, if they're not selfish, they should be a really good lover. Virgo. Virgos have a lot of sex. From what I know a couple Virgos and they've had a lot of sex partners. When we sit and talk about it, I mean, one of them, he used to be on the party line, the AOL, you know, online chat and the party line back in the day. We used to all do that. And he had sex with like thousands of people, thousands of people. I can't believe he's still alive. How much sex he was having. So a lot of them tell me that they've had a lot of sexual partners. I would assume I've never had sex with a Virgo, so I would assume that practice should make perfect, you know. But the Aquarius that I know that I asked about this told me that Virgos are really great in bed. They're very innovative in bed. They like to have sex, and some of them are known for being sex addicts. So you know, I heard they were really great, you know, so I can't really confirm it or deny it, but I've been told by at least 20 Aquarius that having sex with a Virgo was really great. They only complained about the fact that it was just sex. Like they wanted, all these Aquarius were telling me that they were aiming for something more with the Virgo and all they can get from them was this sex. So, you got you a sex addict when you're dealing with a Virgo. And with the Virgo Aquarius, the combination can be explosive. Let me see. What is after Virgo? That would be Libra. Libras are very supposed to be really romantic during sex. I've had sex with a Libra and I really wasn't that impressed. There was romance, there was great foreplay, but the sex itself was fast. To be honest with you, it was really quick. So, I don't know about that. Other people have told me, other Aquarius have told me that when you're in a relationship with a Libra, that it's really great. And it's very romantic, and that it's very like the one girl told me the guy took all these rose petals and threw them over the bed. And, like she said, it was a beautiful scene, They made the room he made the room very beautiful before she even came over. So Libras are known for those little charming kind of things, but the sex itself is hit or miss. Some of the Aquarius tell me it was great, and some of them tell me it was just okay. In my situations, it was just okay. So, but it was a beautiful situation. Like they were always, very sweet, very loving kind of energies. They were fun to have sex with, as far as that was concerned. Scorpio. Scorpio and Aquarius sex is crazy. It's crazy. Oh my God. I had sex with a Scorpio. I dated him for months. He was a stripper, an ex-stripper. And he was crazy. Like, I mean, sexually speaking, we did everything. Role playing, S&M. He liked humiliation. So he would like me to hit him with flat-headed brushes. He liked all kinds of things like that. We would have sex against the wall. I mean, it was just wild and passionate and innovative, but it was nothing real tangible there, just this wild ass sex. So I remember one time I got into some shit because of the Scorpio, because at that time I had a roommate. When I was younger, I used to always have roommates. And then I got older and I was like, no more roommates. But I had a roommate and I was dating this Scorpio and we were, having sex all the time. And one day after he left, she was like, what the fuck is going on with y'all? And I was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, we can hear you beating him. Like, what the hell are you doing? And I was like, I didn't know because I had the music on, so I didn't know they could hear. So my roommate and her company on several several different occasions, apparently, was like, heard me beating him with the flathead brush I told you about. So she was like, what the fuck are you doing? Bitch, you going to go to jail? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, I heard you beating him and kicking him. Like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, well, that's what he's into. He likes to be beat. He likes to be kicked. He likes to be yelled at. He likes to wear this little bow tie thing, and these little G-string things. And he likes me to push him and yell at him and choke him and throw him. You know, he likes that. And she was like, girl, you're going to go to jail. Because you're going to end up hurting him, taking it too far, and you're going to go to jail. So it was fun sex, though. It was really fun. We dated for like 3 months, and we had sex all the time. And he was great. We broke up because of other reasons. Basically because he was a liar. But the sexual aspect of it was great. So let's see. What is after Scorpio? Sagittarius. Aquarius and Sag, the sex is okay. It is not top of the list at all. I think, again, it depends on the Sag, because from what I understand, some Sages are better than others. But the one that I had, we were together for about a year or two, and we were long distance, so we didn't get to have a lot of sex, first of all. But when we did have sex, it was more of the passion between us and the emotions between us that really held us together than the sex itself. He was kind of boring with sex. But he also was from another culture, so I'm not sure if that's why the sex was boring, because sometimes people from different cultures are not as sexually aware as Americans are. Americans are very sexually aware. And from traveling the world, I have realized that not everyone is like that. Some people think certain things you shouldn't do. Like, for example, the Sagittarius that I was with didn't think oral sex was appropriate. But that could have been because of his culture more so than because he was a Sag. But, other Aquarius I know who've been with Sag just told me they enjoyed their Sag. They enjoyed the sex with their Sag. They just didn't like the fact the Sag didn't want to stick around. They said the Sag wanted to have sex and then leave, unless they were living together. The Sag is like sex, cuddle a bit, go home, So some of them complained about that. Capricorn sex was good. The only time I did not have a problem with my husband, the Capricorn, was when we had sex. Any other time we were fighting, arguing, not getting along. The only time we got along was in bed. That was the only time. And it was great. I mean, we had a great back and forth, no problems with that at all. Capricorn sex was great. And I've had another Capricorn, a girl, a female. We were like, she was older than me though, but still great in bed, great with sex. We both really enjoyed that. Capricorn and Aquarius can have really good sex. It's just that they can't get along nowhere else in the house. That's the only problem. Aquarius and Aquarius can have great sex because they're both they're both freaked out, Problem is that they have to both be on the same page. The Aquarius I lived with for 2 years and was sleeping with, she was very rigid. And I'm not a rigid person. I'm only rigid in certain areas. That's that Saturn. And I'm rigid in business. I'm rigid in certain areas like that. Certain things I'm serious about. But sex isn't one of those things I'm rigid about. And she was. But I don't know if that's because she had sexual trauma, So a lot of Aquarius who are rigid have a hard time being comfortable in sex, having good sex. And she was one of those people. She had a really hard time with it. She basically had to, drink, in order to get loose enough to enjoy sex. And for me, that just wasn't fun. I didn't like it because she would be too drunk at that point, and it didn't go well. So after a while, I stopped having sex with her totally. We lived together for like a year and I wasn't sleeping with her, literally. And it was because it wasn't fun. And like she didn't want to do it most of the time. And then sometimes she would out of the clear blue sky. And I was just like, look, we ain't doing this. I'm good. So if you have an Aquarius who's not rigid, you will have a great sex life. I would love to sleep with Rick James. I told somebody once, they were asking me, who would I sleep with? What celebrity would I sleep with if, from past or present, if I could? And I was like, if Rick James was alive, I would love to have sex with Super Freak. Because I bet you that's off the hook, And she was like, I heard he burned people with cigarettes. You better watch out for that, I'm not with the cigarette burning, but But I do think that having sex with a no holds barred Aquarius would be some bomb sex. I think that would be amazing. So, Aquarius and Aquarius can have great sex. Aquarius and Pisces. I used to date a Pisces for about 2 years. My first relationship was with a Pisces. And we had sex all the time. It was nothing wrong with the sex. I liked having sex with him. He liked to try new things. I liked to try new things. It was my first real boyfriend. So, I was trying everything I ever thought of or heard of or even conceived in my mind. So the sex wasn't bad. It was good. It wasn't negative. It wasn't wham bam, thank you, ma'am. It was, it was nice. It was great. You know, I broke up with the Pisces not because of sex. I broke up with the Pisces because he played too much. The Pisces had too much play in him. He wasn't serious enough. He was always, doing practical jokes. I don't like pranks and I don't like practical jokes. I'm a trickster. I got a strong trickster vibration on me. For those of you who know anything about spirituality, one of the spirits on me is the trickster, Papa Legba. That's one of the spirits on me. So I am a trickster. I love laughing. I love joking. I love that. But I do not like pranks. I don't think that's funny at all. And he was always pulling stupid pranks on people who also didn't think it was funny. So that's why I broke up with him, because he was annoying the hell out of me. I stayed with him for like 2.5 years and moved on to my daughter's father, which was the Capricorn. So the Pisces wasn't bad at all in that capacity, as far as sex was concerned and connection is concerned. So that's the signs. That's Aquarius and the signs with sex. Now, mind you, this is not going to be true for everybody. I'm going to put that out there immediately because I know I'm going to get people that's going to say, nah, not me. So I'm going to tell you up front, it's not going to be this. It's not going to be that way for everybody. But for many, many cases, and for the people that I interviewed about this particular topic, that's what we came up with. So if you're an Aquarius, tell me what you think. Did you have these similar experiences, or did you have better or worse experiences with these signs? Okay? All right, guys, it's time for me to get going. So, if you would like to give a love donation, I'm going to leave underneath here my PayPal. If you would like to make an appointment to have an oracle reading, a tarot card reading, or to get a general question answered, you can email me. You can email me for an appointment, and you can email me a general question. Likewise, I'm on social media. I'm on Facebook and Instagram if you want to hit me up. If you like this video, please pass it on to somebody else that might like it and give it a thumbs up. Thanks a lot. See you guys later.